Are we live? We're live. Hello. So recently, it's come to my attention that the Chinese have started to pirate Sailor. Okay. By which I mean, they've borrowed the design blueprints of some certain Sailor pens and then have made their own. And someone has kindly lent them to me for me to check out. If you go on Taobao, there's a whole bunch of these, and apparently there are two brands. There's this Delike brand, and there's a Lingmo brand. And what you're saying is, doesn't this look like a Sailor Sapporo Slim? Yes, it does. And doesn't this look like a Sailor Prophet standard size? Yes. For comparison, this blue one is a legit pro color. From the cap ring to the general profile of the clip's obviously slightly different, to the shape of the clip, very similar. It's like someone got a hold of the pro color blueprint and basically just, or maybe they just borrowed like the injection mold cast. As for the Delike, it's almost like two Chinese companies. One was like, oh hey, we're gonna pirate me some pro colors, and like some other company was like, hey, they're pirating Sailors. Sailor must be big now. Let's pirate some Sapporo Slims. And then they made this one. The cap ring is very similar to the single band cap rings that Sailor sometimes makes. Distance to ring is the same. In fact, in this model, in this Chinese model, they've even copied the step down to the clip, and the clip shape is the same general step up, and the bottom is it's not quite the same, but it's like they're basically borrowing Sailor's design, even down to the end body cap ring here, to the body end ring. It's also similar distance. Price difference. How much were these again? Like average 20 to around like 20 to 30 RMB or so. Incredibly cheap. So how do they write? Well, here's where it gets weird. So like I said, there's a Delike, there's a Lingmo. Of the two, the Pro Gear Slim copy, brief note, real Pro Gear Slim, this is a Le Cool. They have interchangeable parts. They both are very similar to this copy. We're going to talk about the Delike first. Right now they have 3 colors. These are actually fairly pretty plastics, to be honest. These 4, they take standard international cartridge converters with a spring agitator. It's a full body color. I have to mention this because many Sailors do not feature full body colors. The grip sections are black, not like this grip section. The feed looks to be like the generic black plastic Chinese feed, and the nib is some generic Chinese nib. Apparently they all come in EF, and I will now do a quick writing sample. This is a Delike New Moon. Do they all have different names? Delike, okay then never mind. So this is a Delike New Moon. They're all EF and, oh, they're just hard as nails. It's pretty smooth and it works. There's not a lot you can say about these. This one's sort of like, okay, so they copied the design. Nib and cartridge are just like they slapped on standard Chinese stuff on top of it. If we were to compare nib sizes, this says EF. I'm going to write with that's a steel EF. This is a, whoops. Oh no, does it even have ink? Oh, this is out ink. Hold on. I'm going to use a steel EF to compare with it instead then. Is this inked? No, it's not. I'm going to dip test with the same ink so we can be fine. Okay. So this is a Sailor Pro color. This is also EF. They write very similarly, and if I had to, they're both smooth. In fact, the Chinese version is a smidge thicker, writes a smidge thicker, and is also a smidge smoother than the actual Sailor steel nib. That's mildly depressing. Let's move on. Other brand is the Lingmo. And here's where it gets weird. It looks like the Pro colors and the Profit Slims until you look at the nib, and then you realize, hey, isn't this the Pilot steel nib shape and the Pilot feed? That slightly rubbery feed? And wait, what's up with the converter? Oh. First of all, the handle of the converter looks like it's been stolen, the idea has been copied from a Con 40 with that transparent grip thing. The agitator looks like it's been borrowed from a Con 50 agitator, like the old Con 50 agitator. But the bit at the end where it fits onto the nib unit, that is interchangeable with a Sailor converter. Pilot nib, Pilot feed, and half the converter is Pilot, but it fits onto a Sailor. There's not a lot I can say about that, really, other than like, that's some weird. It's a very. I'm at a loss for words. It's like they cobbled together bits of other pens to make this pen. As for writing, they come in a variety of materials, including something like the sky blue, but it's a bit lighter than the real thing. There's some nice, cool-looking plastics, some pinks. They have their own demo, which actually looks incredibly like the Wingsung 78G demo copy, and even has the transparent feed. Some nice reds, some like ivory white, and all these Lingmo ones basically have that same Sailor converter fit. If you want to ask, oh hey, can you swap the parts? The thread pitches for all of these are different, so you can't actually interchange them with actual Sailor parts. But in looks, Lingmo, it says it's an F-nib. F-nib looks like a Pro color. That's a pretty thick F-nib. If I were to compare it with anything, I would, maybe the closest one is like a Clear Candy MF. They're both pretty smooth. This Lingmo F nib, the Pro Color Profit lookalike, is the thickest. The Sailor EF is the thinnest, but it's similar to Delike, the flat cap copy. Well, looks like Sailor's in the big leagues now because the Chinese have thought Sailor popular enough to like pirate. The materials, I don't know how these materials will hold up, but they're really pretty. And the price is... Sorry, how much did you say the price was again? 38 times 1.3, $40, $50, so we're talking about like $6 US or so. It's like a pilot. This is like, it's like a pilot nib. Well, that exists. If you want to have a go, take a risk and buy some for yourself. They sort of look like sailors in a lot of ways, but there's no branding or whatever. Like they don't have the flat cap. The flat cap Delikes don't have the finials, but they have considered it important enough to like copy the sailor font, but in their brand name. And I suppose it's sort of like the Hero Safari copies. It's a similar design, but they're providing them in colors that you usually wouldn't see them in for a very entry-level price. So maybe they could be considered a sort of stepping stone towards buying actual real sailors with like better QC and better materials overall. So whatever. If they're cheap, have fun with them if you want. Some nice body.